So the first thing we're going to crochet is the cookie base, and there's going to be 2 of them. But it starts out with a magic ring. So first you take the yarn, drape it over your fingers, and then I like to pinch in the middle with my thumb and wrap it around, and then you see on the top you have the 2 strands, and here you have the little X, and you just hold it with your thumb. Then you take it and put it under your ring finger and over your pinky, and you just hold it there with that. Then you take your hook, you go under the first one and over the second one, you pull it through and turn it while it's still on the hook, and then you're going to take what you're holding and you're going to pull yarn over, pull through. Okay, and this is the magic ring. So for the first round, you're going to do inside the magic ring. You want to make sure that you have this tail in there, and at the end we're going to pull on the tail to tighten it. The first step is to chain 2. So you do 1 chain and then another chain, and then after that we're going to be making 10 double crochets. So for your first double crochet, you yarn over, you go inside the magic ring, you yarn over again and pull it out. You should have 3 on your hook. Then you yarn over and pull through 2 loops. So that's 1, and there's a second loop. You yarn over and pull through the last 2. So that's your first double crochet of the round. And you're just going to take a stitch marker to mark your first stitch. And then you're going to repeat that 9 more times for a total of 10. So yarn over, put it in the ring, yarn over and pull it back out of the ring the same way you came, yarn over, pull through the first 2 stitches, yarn over, pull through the next 2. Okay, so now if you want to know how to count them, if you lose track of how many stitches you have, you look at the top, and this one is going to be around your first stitch. You see that V? That's the first stitch right there. And then the second V up here is your second stitch. So you just count starting from this first one and go around until you have 10. So let me show it one more time for the double crochet. Yarn over, put it in the loop, yarn over again and pull it back out of the loop, yarn over, pull through the first 2 stitches, yarn over and pull through the last 2. So there we have 3 stitches. You're going to need a total of 10 stitches for this round, and I'm just going to skip through the rest and be back when 10 are made. Okay, so now I've made my 10 double crochets, and this is what it looks like right now because it's not tightened. So what you're going to want to do to make it that circle shape, you're going to pull on this string. So you just pull on it and it tightens, and then you have a circle. Okay, so then you're going to look at where your first double crochet of the first round is, and it's right here, and you're going to do a slip stitch there. So you take out the marker, remember where it's at. You go into that stitch, you should have both back and the front on there. You're going to yarn over and pull through, and pull through this first one. So now we're going to go into the second round, and what you're going to do is the same thing. You're going to chain 2, 1, 2. The only difference in this round is instead of doing 10 double crochets, you're going to do 20. So since we have 10 stitches in the first round, that means you're going to do 2 double crochets in each stitch, and this is called a double crochet increase. So for the first double crochet, we're going to see right here is the first stitch, the one that we want to go into. So you're going to yarn over, go into that stitch, yarn over again and pull through. Then you have 3 on the loop, you yarn over, pull through the 2, yarn over, and pull through the last 2. This is the first stitch of the round, so you're just going to want to put your stitch marker on it. Instead of going to the next stitch, which is right here, you're going to do one more stitch in that same place. So yarn over, put it in there, yarn over again, pull it back out. When you have 3 on there, you yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through 2 again. So you're just going to keep repeating this pattern, and I'll show it for the next 2 stitches again. Yarn over, put it into the next stitch. You just went into this stitch, so now you're going into the next one, which is right here. Yarn over, pull out, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through the last 2. Then you're going to do that one more time, yarn over, go into that stitch, the same stitch, pull out, then you have 3, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through the last 2. So just repeat that pattern 2 in each stitch until you get a total of 20, and then we'll meet back again. Okay, now that we have 20 double crochets, we're gonna slip stitch back to the first double crochet, which the stitch marker is marking. So you're just gonna take it out and slip stitch, which is you just go into the stitch, you yarn over, you pull through, and then you pull through the loop on there. So this is your first base for the cookie. You're gonna need 2 of them. One of them can have a short tail, but the other one needs to have a long tail for sewing at the end. So just remember that if you cut the first one short, you're gonna need a longer second one. So you're just gonna cut it. This one is gonna be my short one. Come on, scissors. So right now you have it like this. You can just pull through, and then it's fastened off. So you're gonna repeat this one more time for the second base of the cookie. I'm not gonna show it, but if you need to, you can go back and look. It's the same process and pattern, just make sure one has a long tail and the second one can be shorter. Now I'm gonna do the cookie frosting circle, and it's the same pattern except instead of double crochet, we're doing half double crochets. So again, we start off with the magic ring. Put my thumb there, wrap it around. So you have 2 on top, then you have the X on bottom with your thumb right here. You do it under your ring and over your pinky. You take your hook under the first, over the second, pull through and twist it so that it's facing up with it on there. You take your yarn, you yarn over, and you pull through. And then here we have the magic ring. So this time we're going to chain 1. For the half double crochets, it's not as big as the double crochet, so we only need to chain 1 at the start of rows. So then we're going to do 10 half double crochets. So it starts the same way. It has a yarn over, then you go in the ring, you yarn over and pull it through. So again, it has the 3 loops, the same as the double crochet, but instead of only pulling through 2 this time, you're going to yarn over and pull through all 3. And that's the half double crochet. It's the first one of this round, so we're going to put our stitch marker. Oops. Put our stitch marker on. And then we're going to repeat for a total of 10 half double crochets. So yarn over, go into the ring, yarn over again, pull it back out the same way you came. You have 3, yarn over and pull through all 3. So now we have 2 half double crochets. I'll show it one more time. Yarn over, go into the ring, yarn over again and pull it out of the ring. You have 3, yarn over, pull through all 3. Okay, so I'm gonna do 10 and then we'll be back. So now we have our 10 half double crochets. We're gonna completely tighten the magic ring, and then we're gonna slip stitch to the first half double crochet of the round. Okay, so you go into the stitch, yarn over and pull through both of them. And then we're gonna start off the round again by chaining 1. So we're going to do 2 half double crochets in each stitch. So you yarn over, go into that stitch, yarn over again, pull it through. You have 3 on there, yarn over, pull through all 3. That's your first half double crochet of the round, and you're just going to mark it with your stitch marker. Do the same in the same stitch again. Okay, so you're just going to repeat that again to get a total of 20. So I'll do the next 2, yarn over into the next stitch. You worked in this stitch, now we're going into this one. Yarn over, pull through, you have 3 on there, yarn over and pull through all 3. And then into the same stitch again, yarn over, go into there, yarn over, yarn over, pull through all 3. Okay, so we'll meet back again when we have all 20 done. Okay, now we have our 20, and we're just gonna slip stitch to the first half double crochet of the second round. So you're gonna yarn over and pull through both. Okay, and then for this one you're going to want to leave a bit of a longer tail because we're going to be sewing with it. So you want to make sure you don't run out. Maybe this. Okay, so and then for a size comparison, let's first pull this out. Whoop. So for a size comparison, we see that the frosting of the cookie is a bit smaller. That's because we used half double crochets instead of double crochets, and this will give it that sort of frosted cookie look. You still need, if you haven't already, you still need to create the second base, but now we're done with the bases. So if you want your cookie to have eyes, you need a pair of safety eyes. What you're going to do is just place them where you want them to be, in the front. And then you're going to look at the back. You're going to take the backing and you're going to fasten it. So you're just going to press it and then it will be secure. Yeah. And just put the back on the second one too. If you end up putting your eyes and you don't like where they're at, well, make sure don't put the back on until you're sure you like where they're at, because it's supposed to be permanent. Sometimes they do come off, but they're called safety eyes because they're not meant to come off. Just in case a kid pulls on it, it becomes a safety hazard if they come off. Okay. So now we're gonna sew the frosting to the cookie base. So you're gonna need a yarn needle and just thread the needle. Okay. You're gonna place it where you like it, on top. And then you're just gonna sew around this area. The reason we have 2 cookie bases is because when you sew around this first one, you're gonna see the blue stitches on the back. So let's just start sewing around. Take your needle and sew through. And then you're going to want to go to the next stitch so you can see it like that. And you just keep sewing through. And come back. And you're just going to sew all the way around. And then you can either tuck in this is from the magic ring, you could tuck it in or cut it a little shorter. I think I'll cut mine if my scissors will cooperate. Oy. Okay, and then I'll tuck it in. So just keep sewing around and then we'll be back when that part's done. Oh, also, if you want to embroider frosting, you should do it now before it gets completely sewed on. You just embroider the top and then you can sew it to this. But if you want to use beads for the, oh, not the frosting, for the sprinkles I mean. So if you want to use beads for the sprinkles, you can wait till the end. But if you want to embroider it, you should do it before you sew these two pieces together. Okay, I'll see you when we finish this step. Okay, now I've sewed around. You can see the stitches on the back. I wasn't super even with it, but that's okay as long as it's attached. So next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna sew on the second base, sew them together. So this is the short one, so I wouldn't be using this tail. But the second base I have has a longer tail, so we're gonna sew them together. And we're also gonna attach the keychain at this stage. So here's the little keychain ring that I'm gonna be using. Okay. So I don't need this blue tail so long anymore, so I'm gonna cut a bit of length off of it. Okay. And then I also want to move this tail out of the way. So I'm going to thread it. And then I'm just going to put it to the back, just so it's out of the way for when we sew with the rest of it. And there. I'm also going to cut it. Okay, so here's our other base with the long tail. And then this is the front, but in this case it's going to be for the back of the cookie. You don't want this to be sticking out, so you're going to be putting it together like this. And that will be on the back. So now I'm gonna use the long tail to sew them together. So I'm gonna thread it. And see how I want it to go. Okay, I think I'll start like this. So the sewing technique I'm going to use here is a whip stitch, but it's not necessary. You can just use the same sewing technique as earlier, but this is just how I do it. So what I do is I take this, I go through both of the stitches, and then when I look at the top cookie, I'm only going to go to through the bottom stitch. So this is the bottom stitch. If I were to go through both, it would be taking, let's see, you can see that they're both on there, but I just want the bottom stitch for the top base. So I'm going to pull that through. Okay. And then I'm going to go around to the next stitch. I just did this stitch. Now I'm going to go here, go through both stitches of the bottom base and only the bottom stitch, so it looks like 3 on there. I'm gonna pull through to sew that, and then I'm gonna just repeat that. And then go through there. So I'm gonna just keep going around. But then when I get to the top, I'm going to attach the keychain. So let me do a few more to show. So you go through the bottom, Go through the bottom and then just the bottom loop. Now I'm getting closer to the top. When we get to the center spot is where we're going to want to attach the keychain. Okay, I'm about there. And for attaching the keychain, there's really no set way, but I just usually go through. Let's see if this fits. It does. Okay, so I just go through and check and make sure that's at the middle. It is. And then I just go through those loops a few times. So there, just sewing it on so that it stays attached. And I like to go through it a few times. So I go through the middle, loop again, oops, and then just pull through. Okay. Tighten it. Okay. So I'll just keep going through a few more times. So I go through the middle loop. And then I'm going to go through the base, just around the same area. Sometimes I'll go through like this, just to fasten it a bit. Okay. And then when I think it's fine, should be sturdy enough, I just make sure it's tight. And then I continue to sew the rest of the way in through. You just want to make sure that your tails are tucked in, and if they're too long, you just might want to cut them a bit, but just keep sewing around. So I'm going to find the bottom one, like that, and just keep sewing. Okay, so I'm just gonna go around and then we'll meet at the end of the round. Okay, so now I've sewed the rest of it and it's pretty much done. What we're gonna need to do is just hide the tail. So you can just go in there and come out the other end or somewhere. And then you can cut it. And then you want to hide the tail. And then you're pretty much done. If you want to add sprinkles, you can glue on beads. So now you have a complete cookie keychain. Thank you. And you could do them with different frosting colors. And this one I just embroidered a little bit of white thread for sprinkles, and then I added pink thread for cheeks. So you can just customize it however you like. Okay then, bye.